They're going to be filled by people that they cannot control. And I thought, okay, this is what's coming. But what about the borders? So when we link the chain and we realize there's criminality, and majority of the criminality of ours, what is investigated, that link the PKTT, touch the borders, because these drugs come from South America into the country mostly. Could it be that there's something to do with the borders? Until Gerald Musigidi arrived here and she submitted this statement about their engagement with the minister, which made her realize that the minister is talking about the borders because the minister wants the police to withdraw from the borders and hand over this whole policing of the borders to the border management agency. So it's all these things that become clear as the time progresses that ordinarily I didn't know about it at the onset. But as we were putting it together, we were linking it with the drugs. But the latter, why intelligence, why the borders, we didn't understand. But as the time progresses, then we start realizing, okay, this is how all these three subjects are so important to the minister on the 31st of December.
Was this letter of the 31st of December 2024 also a prelude or precursor to you and General Masamolo possibly being arrested, or that your arrest was now imminent?
Honorable Chair,
you
member.
had the theory that you called this press conference on the 6th of July to preempt your arrest.
Honorable Chair and members, I've said it before that I'm going to invite you if honorable members are not going to get to that, but it should be on the annex, the affidavit from BMA that involves that sergeant.
Yes.
That he had ran with the abducted person to Mozambique illegally. So BMA says so. That he crossed to Mozambique without going through the system. And he only came through the system when he came back. The statement under oath.
Yeah, you can refer to the letter. It's the Home Affairs. It's in the bundle.
It's in a bundle.
Yeah. Lot was. It's item 5, honorable members. No.
I'm not seeing it here on my bundle, but honorable Chair members, if you do have in your bundle, then it's fine. I know of an affidavit that was
it.
This. Oh yeah.
Immediately
here's the Home Affairs.
After the handwritten letter.
Yeah. So this is a person that the team investigating the kidnapping tells me they are tracing this. They found Nangi and they chased Nangi to Mpumalanga to a house. The man is not there in the house. They follow to other addresses. They are told the man has crossed to Mozambique with the victim. And the victim was released 2 weeks later and dumped next to the garage in the north of KZN, next to Mozambique border at Mangus. And was blindfolded, he did not know. But the DNA of the victim was found in the very same house that is alleged to be burned, which is a very interesting thing. The DNA of the victim was discovered by forensic in the house that was allegedly burned, which confirms that the person was kept in that house. So it's a very interesting thing that comes with this sergeant that is allowed to come here by Mr. Adams. Home Affairs says this man did not cross the border. The information the team says he ran with a criminal into Mozambique. Home Affairs says he didn't cross it. When he came back with a temporary passport arranged by the commission that side, this is how he was registered coming back into the country. This is a man that is a police officer who's been working in that border police for many years. It's a police officer who runs a funeral parlor. I wonder what has been moved with those funeral parlors between Mozambique and South Africa. I want the parliament to investigate such. These are credibility of the people that came here. But nonetheless, he speaks about the imminent arrest, a case I mentioned open in Johannesburg. Sinona says to me, he speaks to Nangi to drop the charges. It's a year later. I've not been approached by Apit about that. He comes with Mr. Adams to Cape Town. to lay the same complaint that is registered in Johannesburg, hoping maybe there's going to be a different team. I won't be surprised if that case is now with IDEC, because it seems like Mr. Adam has found a different way of making sure cases are investigated. But when he thinks that I'm going to be arrested, I would have been arrested a year long before that, but I was still there. The reason for me talking on the 6th of July had nothing to do with that, but it was the effort that one had tried to communicate, to try and find intervention. Maybe in our communication, Honorable Cameron will say, you did not present clear during the 5th of March meeting of the Portfolio Committee the issues that you were worried about. Maybe the committee will have acted differently. Well, we can take that. Perhaps we did not present it. But I felt that now I've tried this, and I was afforded an opportunity, I've tried it. The minister is still denying knowing Brown and all sorts of things. It's clear something is happening here. Fortunately, the very same IDEC, with members that are inside IDEC that are sharing information with me, I was able to know before Khumalo is arrested. I told Khumalo that when you leave Cape Town, when you land at the airport, it will find you there. And that's exactly what happened. When I got information from IDEC, the Judicial Commissioner, when you touch down in Cape Town, they're going to arrest you. The plan now is to put Sibiya as acting. So that's information I had to share, because it was coming from the people that are investigating, that have been told, do this now, do that now, do this, because they had failed to get Sibiya DPCI because of his age. And the next plan was, let's remove the National Commissioner so that he can take charge. Not because there's a legitimate case, but things were going to be alleged. But that was not the reason for the press briefing in the main.
Okay, as can you pause a little, can we take Honorable Sangoni?
I'm sorry, Chair. No, it's just been bothering me a lot since the morning. General Mkhwanazi keeps saying that witness Mlotshwa, who was brought here by Adams. Can I just get clarity? I thought Mlotshwa was a public participation witness, or is that evidence that's still going to be led?
Mlotshwa is from Mpumalanga, honorable members. Mlotshwa, since his arrest to date, he has never seen the doors of his office. He's a member, has been booking of sick ever since. His last sick note was in last month. He's still been on sick. But Mr. Adams brought him in one of the corridors here of Parliament with a television while you were busy inside. They were having a press briefing outside. I think days before he came before you. So he was brought by him from Mpumalanga to come here. From after the press briefing, they went to the police station to open a case on that assault that he was talking about, which is the same case that was opened in Johannesburg. So they went to police station to open a case. Fast forward, he come and sit on this chair. So it's a person who was arranged for him to come and talk bad about Jerome Mkhwanazi. That's how we landed here.
So the evidence is that Mr. Mlotshwa would have used the procedural process of Parliament to appear. Because I think what is bothering Honorable Sangoni is that it may appear as though that he is a witness that was submitted to the committee by Honorable Adams.
Honorable Chair, Acting Chair, I will take that. I cannot prescribe because I do not know how the members decide on listening to a person. I like to believe that you are presented with a witness by someone else who brings this person to you, and then you deliberate and accept the person. But for the person to come to you, be presented before you, he had arrived in Cape Town a few days before that. And public officer, a police officer was off sick at his workplace, and his address is in Mpumalanga. So for him to travel from there, come here, have a press briefing, go to a police station, 2 days later is in Parliament. From the layman point of view, you might conclude that perhaps this has been part of the arrangement. But to take that, and I don't want it any way to accuse the committee for having done wrong. But what I meant to say, he came here and was accepted to appear before the commission, present his story.
Proceed, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to make a follow-up?
No, Chair. Honorable Sangoni requested a follow-up when you're outside.
Yeah.
So that's what we're closing. That's why I was taking back to the SC. Now, Honorable Case is doing another follow-up.
I allow you to recognize her.
Honorable Matheus, you are duly recognized.
Acting Chairperson, your last day for acting. Lieutenant General, so you're saying that he opened a case in Cape Town regarding the torture,
I'm told so.
or his alleged torture,
I'm
rather,
told so.
a few days ago, before he appeared here.
That's correct.
And then he also reported here that a case was already opened in Houghton Police Station almost a year ago. So it's
Correct.
all the same thing.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. We just need to get the case number and follow up on that. Thank you.
Yeah. Evidence leaders, you can proceed. If members eat your time, at 1:30, you must indicate to me how much time you lost to members, and I will compensate you. It is their decision that you must finish at 1:30, remember.
General,
Yes, sir.
yeah, we were just going through the list of items that you mentioned in your press briefing. And at 6.8, you refer to unnamed judges, magistrates as part of the crime syndicate, which again also involves politicians. We didn't, do you have names for us? Again, is it what you know, but you can't disclose? Has it been communicated to you that you can't give the names, or do you have names and for some reason you can't make it known to us?
Yeah, Honorable Chair and members, at times I know we are in a country that is governed by the legislation, so we have to follow the law on things. That's why we cannot name a person if we have not necessarily arrested a person or have an evidence presented before you that says a person did A to Z. However, we have evidence that is part of the criminal investigations where recordings and documentations are available as part of the case dockets, where the actions of officials that are given the responsibility to make sure that the law is upheld are deliberately manipulating that. So a classic case that I'll put before you. I'm not saying that this is a person that I'm accusing of, but there's a classic case. Bail conditions in our country are prescribed, but the powers for bail are given to the presiding officers. So one presiding officer abuses the powers that they're given in order to benefit certain individuals. The only recourse that a person has is to go through the prescribed legal process that might take time. So while you're undergoing that process, the evil deeds that are planned, they continue. So I'll draw attention to a typical example that not me, but the judge have said it, which I made a reference to Ms. Korabana, what happened with the release of one of the police officers that was arrested. The magistrate released the man and says, go back to work. But another magistrate released other people on the same case. And the magistrate says, do not enter any premises of crime intelligence in the country. Now, I'm drawing comparison from the two professionals in the same court. Why would they come up with those conclusions? Call it an error. But they've been to court to try and argue this thing. The very same magistrate doesn't want to listen to them, and he keep postponing until eventually he want to withdraw himself from the case. The magistrate, the court says the magistrate erred in coming up with a
General,
allow me. The magistrate erred in coming up with a bail condition that the state did not ask for. So in that case, I'm using that as a typical example.
Yeah, but is that enough to infer
No,
that,
but you,
that these magistrates or judges who make mistakes, they make it all the time, every day? Everyone involved in the criminal justice system. That's why we have a system of appeals from the lower court to the highest court, so that mistakes and errors can be corrected. But my question is that sufficient for you to draw a conclusion or an inference that these magistrates, where one differs with the other, even in the same court, the same set of facts, that they are necessarily involved with crime syndicates or that they corrupt?
Honorable Chair and members, SC, I said the information in writing, information in recording of people talking is part of the investigation in criminal dockets that have been investigated. But the evidence that we're bringing to you is that typical example. Here is the team that is investigating drug squad in Gauteng. The team that get arrested on cases that you and me, you'll agree that at the first place, they should not even have been arrested. But they get arrested. As if that is not enough. This team is barred from entering crime intelligence offices in the country. Let it sink in, SC. It is a magistrate that exercise a bail condition that the state did not ask for. What does that do? It puts on hold the entire investigation in Gauteng. I told you that these junior members are not sleeping at home. So they have to be paid for in accommodation, not a 5-star accommodation that has been alleged. But they must be paid accommodation where they must stay. They must get subsistence allowance where they are staying. They've got labor rights to work overtime and be paid. So they need resources. They're not getting this. Simply because the court decided that they must not participate in those things. I don't think if you get what I'm saying. Call it a mistake of the magistrate, but it's a deliberate to frustrate this part. And it becomes clear. So we don't need to say you have been part of this, but your action is assisting this. Oh, and I'm going to repeat again, see, maybe not getting me. We did not say Mr. Mkhwanazi is part of the syndicate. Remember we said that. We did not say that. We say he's an enabler for the criminality to thrive. We want to bring it to his attention. He does not want to listen. Instead, he's allowing this criminality to thrive by his action. So it's that what we are bringing to the attention of this parliament, that not to say that everyone that we've named have 100% contributed to this, but majority of them are the enabler of the wrong. So if people come to you for assistance and you help them, you are participating. Yes, the end result of a person to move drugs from point A to point B is to make money with drugs. But you're a police officer of the law, you hold a roadblock on the road. If a person says, make sure there's no roadblock and he gives you money, it doesn't tell you what the reason why you must not have a roadblock is, because it's going to be moving something. It just simply say, make sure there's no roadblock. Or if there's a roadblock, tell me. It ends there with you. And you do that. You share that information, there's a roadblock at that point. That's enough. This person knows I must not go that route, I must take another route. You are participating indirectly so. So these presiding officers, we cannot say they are making honest errors, because we've seen that I'm not a lawyer myself. I'm a police officer. So some things just don't make sense when the courts or the presiding officers are exercising their judicial powers on decisions that they take. Yes, I know the recourse of that is to launch investigations. But while we're launching investigations, things fall apart. And what we're on the verge of doing in this country was to hand over the country to the people that were going to control it. Honorable Chair and members, had the National Commissioner been removed, for whatever reason, Sibiya would have become the acting National Commissioner. That one I can tell you. Members of IDEC that were investigating told me that.
Now, the bail conditions of Lieutenant General Kumalo, they were set aside on review. You don't have or didn't see the judgment of the reviewing court that set aside that decision, because the reason why I'm asking is that that court, if there is a written judgment, would have indicated the extent of the magistrate's errors, if they were errors and whether they were honest errors or whether they were deliberate oversights or whatever. You don't have can't give us a reference to that judgment.
No, I do not have.
Okay. Now, if we can move on from there, we've dealt with the 6th of...
In actual fact, maybe one of members who can allow me, I'm sorry to interject, see. A week before the court made that ruling, I had traveled from KZN to Pretoria, and I pleaded with my boss to allow these members to go back to work. Our legal head is here, he can tell you that. I pleaded with him. I stayed in Pretoria until midnight. And the National Commission allowed them. He wrote letters and he gave it to them. A week before the court came with the ruling. Why did I do that? It is simply because the employer had already cleared them. The employer had already cleared them. So I did not see the reason why they are not allowed to do their work if the employer have cleared them. So, but they said not doing the work long after they were cleared. So it was that what frustrating me. But more than them going back to work, it was about the junior members that were being frustrated on their investigation because there was no leadership to support them during that investigation. So they were frustrated sitting on their own after having sacrificed their lives in exposing this rod, but they were not getting the support from management because the people that supposed to support them were told or were barred from entering the premises of intelligence.
General, my colleague Advocate Mkhwanazi has just referred me to the to the judgment